Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to another episode of Questlog on the channel. Our first Questlog for Mythos Month is going to take us to the world of Call of Cthulhu, as we will find ourselves playing a modern adventure, Call of Cthulhu, Alone Against the Static by Chaosium. Looking at the back, this one is, we've done this adventure on the channel a few times. This one is a secluded weekend getaway. And if you're familiar with the Call of Cthulhu Alone Adventures, you'll know that this is another in the style of the Choose Your Own Adventure. So we'll be using the Call of Cthulhu system, of course, where everything is based on a D percentile roll. This is a roll under system where we want to roll under the skill value that's being tested in order for the test to be successful. I've got everything I need here. We are playing as Charlie in the couple. So we played as Alex a couple times, now we're playing as Charlie again. So I printed her character sheet a little bit weird. I think I was flipping, the first time I printed it back to back, I flipped it on the short edge. I could print it and flip it on the long edge, and I might do that at some point, but for now, we're not going to bother with that. What we are going to bother with is jumping straight into the adventure. So let's jump into our first entry. Well, before we do that, while I'm thumbing my way into it, I will mention that I've got a few different dials up over here. You guys might not be able to see them, but they're how I'm going to keep everything straight. So I've got my island dial from GameGenic on her health points, her hit points, which are 13, her magic points, which are 10, and her luck that we'll be setting momentarily in our first entry. So let's get into our first entry. Somewhere in the Forgotten Wilds, where pine needles carpet the forest floor, something stirs. And actually, I'm going to get this cable from my overhead light out of the way. There we are. Wind whips around the Black Hills to places where bears, rabbits, and birds never visit. The trees of the surrounding forest shiver. Beneath the moist earth, something wakes. Shifting from beneath the soil, it erupts in silence from the ground. Its emergence reverberates throughout the wild. Far off, a wolf howls in mourning for what will soon pass. It pulls itself from the darkness and breathes. It blinks. Take your chosen investigator's character sheet. Chosen investigator's sheet. Roll 3d6 and multiply the result by 5 to determine their luck score and write the result down. To play as Alex, go to 1. To go to Charlie, go to 2. So let's take our 3d6, which I've got right here. We'll multiply the result by 5, and that's going to go on our forest. We'll sum them up and multiply the result by 5, and that's what's going to go on our forest dial. Let's see, 255. Okay, so 10, 12 times 5 is 60 luck. So that's actually pretty good. So we'll put that on our forest dial. And then we're beginning as Charlie, so we're going to go to 2. As Glowing Turtle now joins us here for Alone Against the Static. Hopefully everything is going well for you, Glowing Turtle. It's been a great day over here, aside from, well, it's been rainy, but it's been good. But the rain and the clouds have been good for my doughy ghost-like complexion. Anyway, let's jump in. Bzzz, Alex mutters absent-mindedly, opening and closing the car's electric window for the 10th time in 2 minutes. You grit your teeth. You only just got back on the road after your truck stop break, and Alex has already fiddled with every button within reach. You're left to steer the car and navigate using a ridiculously oversized map. Alex gets bored of the window, sighs, then turns to you. Can you just let me hold the map? No, I can do this just fine, you reply. The two of you already missed one turn off this trip because Alex lost track of your route. It's better for you to just take care of everything. It is late afternoon on a rural back road deep within the Black Hills. The sun is high, but the air is cold. Tall pine trees and rolling valleys stretch as far as you can see in every direction. Crisp autumn air drifts in through Alex's open window. Then, you hear an electronic buzz for a moment. Suddenly, it appears again. On and off. On and off. You bite your tongue and keep silent. Alex turns on the radio. You hear a harsh screech of static as they start scanning through different frequencies. This is all pointless. You're way out of signal range. The only song you can pick up is a heavily distorted Neil Diamond single. To ask Alex to stop, go to 83. Just ignore the sound, go to 96. I think we are going to ask him to stop. So 83. Please. You reach over and turn the radio off. I can't think with that noise. Alex raises up their hands defensively. Sorry, they mutter, then turn back to the window. You look back to the road. In your peripheral vision, you notice Alex shoot an irritated glance your way. The longer this trip lasts, the tenser the atmosphere in the car seems to get. It's the next left, you say, and try to smile reassuringly. Alex doesn't answer. You continue deeper into the forest. The little road you're on winds erratically, dipping up and down as it weaves between hills. The sky gets lost in the branches of pine trees. As the evening shadows lengthen, you feel cold seeping in from outside. We'll go to 103. The sun gradually sets. Your car's headlights cut into the darkness, revealing the road ahead just a few feet at a time. Finally, they drift over the front of a cabin, reflecting off two windows on either side of a front door, glaring back at you like watchful eyes. You pull up and park. Finally, Alex sighs, stepping out onto the gravel driveway. You haul yourself out of the seat, stretch your back, and walk around to the trunk to get your bags. It's cold here. The cold night air seizes around you like a vice. You weren't expecting it to be this chilly. Are you hungry? Alex asks, while you try to keep from shivering. Make a con roll. If you fail, check or tick touched by cold on the log sheet. Once again, I've got the log sheet right over here. But right now we need Charlie's constitution. Her constitution is a 60. I was looking for the D6 for a second there. That's an 87. I need to go get the Keeper rule book, but I'm going to double check something. I'm pretty sure on attribute tests, I can't spend luck. And even if I could, I'm not sure I'd want to spend 27 luck on this one. Glowing Turtle or anybody else in chat, you can feel free to weigh in on that thought, but let me go find the Keeper rule book. I will be right back. I'm somewhat in the middle of reorganizing my books as well, but fortunately for me, my Call of Cthulhu books haven't really moved, although I might be trying to put them together as I reorganize my books. And what I'm looking for here, skill rolls. If you have never played this one, might have to pick it up. This isn't the only adventure in the Alone series, Glowing Turtle. There's also do I need the RPG core rule book to play this? I don't think so. The only reason I grabbed it is because because there's a rule I'm checking on here, where I'm checking if I can spend luck on an attribute roll, but I'm pretty sure the answer to that is no. But no, you don't need the core. You don't need the core rule book, which is this book, by the way, the Call of Cthulhu Keeper rule book. You don't need this to play any of the Alone adventures. In addition to Alone Against the Static, there's also Flames, which comes with the Call of Cthulhu starter set. Tide, Frost, Dark. I think that's it. I think that's all of them. Right. Let's see, I was looking for, skill rolls. That's probably a good place to start. Regular difficulty level, yada yada yada. Pushing the roll, that's not what I want. Fumbles and crits. Fortunately, we're not going to care about that. Luck rolls may be called for. The rule I actually want in here is spending luck. It's essentially spending luck to change your results. But I'm going to go with the answer. Let's see. If I can't find it in the next like 30 seconds or so, I'm going to go with the answer to the question that I'm having being no. Let me be there. Luck for non-player characters, that's not what I want. $685. That's the last page, 32. Check Chapter 5 game system for how luck is used. All right, so what we're going to go with. So I'm going to go with the idea that we can't use it on attribute rolls. So since we failed our con roll, I'm going to check off touched by cold. That's something that could come back to bite us later. Glad to help, Glowing Turtle. Alright, so the question we had in front of us was, are we hungry? To say we are, go to 105. To say we aren't, go to 111. I think we are going to say that we are not hungry. Not especially. I'm starved, Alex says, and brushes past you. You roll your eyes. Looks like you're having dinner, then. You drag the bags to the cabin and unlock the door. You stick one hand inside, feel for the light switch, then flick it on. Alex peeks their head inside and nods approvingly. Wow, super cozy. Go to 327. The cabin isn't very big. Your brother Mark, who owns the place, really exaggerated how luxurious it was. There's only one main room with a double bed, a chest of drawers, and a corner set up to serve as a kitchen. There's no microwave. Both the oven and stove use gas. You see two doors, one leading to the rear of the cabin while another leads to a tiny bathroom. You just know it's going to be freezing in there. On the wall opposite the bed is a TV and VCR unit sitting on top of a cupboard. The whole cabin is lit by muted yellow bulbs. It's not dark, but it's not quite light either. The sight of the bathroom reminds you that you've just spent several hours driving. You excuse yourself and dart inside. While you're washing your hands, you catch sight of yourself in the mirror. There are bags under your eyes. You stop and sigh. A weekend getaway. Is this really going to solve all your and Alex's problems? To feel confident about the weekend, go to 124. To doubt this vacation will fix your relationship, go to 126. I've got my doubts that just a weekend away is going to do anything, so let's go to 126. This cabin sucks. Mark always seems so excited when he talks about it, but really, it's kind of a dump. Maybe it feels nicer when you're visiting with somebody you love. You and Alex haven't been that close in months. This is just one more failed attempt at reconciliation that you can add to the pile. At least you can look back on it as proof you really tried fixing things before the inevitable implosion. You stay in the bathroom for a while, glumly staring into the mirror. Minutes crawl past. You don't want to go back out there and face Alex. While you stand, waiting, you notice the bathroom door crack open just a little. Seems like the latch is old. You lean forward and quickly pull the door shut. When you lock it, it stays in place. Eventually, you admit you can't hide away in the bathroom any longer, so you force yourself to walk back out of the bathroom with a fake smile plastered on your face. Woof. Sorry. I've been holding on to that one since we left Pierre. Alex doesn't look up. They just roll their eyes. They're standing in the kitchen now, chopping up vegetables. You cross over to the bed and lie down on it. All your muscles ache from the long drive. They don't feel better when you stretch. Alex says nothing. You want to talk to them, but can't think of anything to say. What was it that Dr. O'Brien said the two of you should do if you were feeling distant? You can't remember. Soon, Alex serves up dinner. The two of you huddle at the small kitchen and eat. Alex remains silent. It's difficult to tell what they're thinking. Check or tick occupied on the log sheet. Make a psychology roll to gauge how Alex is feeling. Charlie's psychology is a 45. That's a 39, so we will pass the roll without needing to spend any luck. So we'll go to 127. Alex is confused. That's the only time they ever go quiet. You watch them pick at their food half-heartedly. They're probably turning things over in their head just like you are. As much as you want to blurt out questions, to talk things through, you force yourself to keep silent. Alex doesn't like that kind of direct conversation. If you start asking questions, you'll probably just annoy them. The best thing you can do is just relax. Focus on doing the things you enjoy as a couple. It will remind them of how good things can be. That's the best way forward. Go to 234. Hey, do you want to watch a movie, you ask? Alex hesitates. The two of you used to fall asleep to movies almost every night when you were first dating. Alex chews the idea over for a minute, then nods. Sure. You take the dishes over to the sink and wash them up while Alex brushes their hair. When you're done, you head over to the TV unit. It's a relatively cheap model from the late 80s sitting on top of a dusty VCR player. You switch both on, then open a cabinet beneath, looking for videos. Mark sure likes scary movies, you say, looking over the titles. 15 different titles, 15 different tapes, and you're sure that covers pretty much every slasher film of the last decade. God, none of these look good. There aren't any comedies, Alex asks from the bathroom. We're going to make a spot hidden roll. Succeed to 131, fail to 133. So spot hidden for Charlie is a 35. That's a 32, so we do pass the roll, which means we are going to 131. As you're leafing through the tapes, you notice something at the back of the closet, at the back of the cabinet. You reach inside and pull it out. It's an empty slipcase for a VHS tape. It's flimsy. Someone has scrawled a title on it in black marker pen. The Flowers in the Stream. You incredulously read the name aloud. What's that? Alex asks, coming out of the bathroom. Empty case. We should have stopped at a video store. I think these are all bootlegs. Alex walks over to you. They're smiling. Maybe they did some soul searching in the bathroom too. Is the tape still in the VCR, they ask? You lean over and press the eject button. There is a whirring of mechanical internals. Then the unit spits out a tape. Aha, Alex says, stepping forward to pull you into a hug. Thank you, Charlie, they say. They rest their head on your shoulder for a second while you stand there holding the tape, sighing, I love you. Check or tick the Flowers in the Stream on the log sheet. To respond lovingly, go to 135. To change the subject, go to 137. I think we're going to change the subject. I'm just going to brush my teeth before the movie, you mutter. You try to act like you just didn't hear what they said. You don't think they buy it. You catch a flash of hurt in their eyes as you shuffle back towards the bathroom with your bag. You don't feel good about it, but you can't bring yourself to lie straight to their face. You crush the feeling of guilt and remorse deep down inside and focus on what you're doing. Once you're changed and ready for bed, you come back out and join Alex. You can hear the VCR humming. Ready to go, you ask? Alex nods. They're trying to look calm, but you can see their eyes are puffy. Lights, camera, action. Check or tick Broken Heart on the log sheet, and then we'll be going to 145. When the film begins, the screen is black. There is faint music, but no opening credits. Then, the screen cuts to blurry footage that was clearly recorded on a handheld camera. Wow, is this one of Mark's home movies, you ask? Alex laughs, then reaches for the remote. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a second, that looks familiar, you say, pointing at the TV. Alex hesitates. Excuse me. On screen, you see a wall of tall forest trees. Leaves and pine needles crunch under the feet of whoever's filming. The camera pans across the landscape, creating a blur of greens and browns. Suddenly, you spot Mark's cabin, standing alone in its little clearing. A dull red sedan is parked out front. That's Julie's car, Alex says. This must have been after their wedding. The camera is shaky. Wind rushes against the microphone, causing a brief flurry of horrid scraping from the speakers. There's movement near the red car. A woman, Julie, is taking bags from the trunk. She's smiling. Yeah, Alex says. This must be at least 5-6 years ago. Julie turns as the cabin door opens. Mark steps out, walks over, and takes one of the bags from her. They smile and exchange unheard words. You sit bolt upright. What the hell? What's wrong? It's only Mark. Yeah, so who's filming? Alex stammers and blinks. On the screen, Mark and Julie go inside and close the door behind them. The camera zooms in toward the window. The picture is a grainy blur of colors. You see movement in the cabin. The camera zooms even closer. Then, harsh wind picks up and howls through the speakers. The image smashes to a slurry of loud static. White noise booms out into the room. The sound drills into your skull. You feel like it's going to make your head explode. We're going to make a note of the entry because we may need to return to it. Then, we're going to make a sanity roll. If we fail, lose a sanity and check or tick unsettled in the log sheet. So a sanity roll is another one that we can't spend luck on. Our sanity is a 50, and I should probably grab another dial. Yeah, I'm going to grab another dial for my sanity, so bear with me just a second. Opening closet door. Closing closet door. I'm going to grab a Marvel Champions dial. This is the one I'm going to be using for my sanity. These things are so handy. If for no other reason, that might be one of the main reasons I'm happy I got into Marvel Champions, just to get those dials, because I use them for so much in these videos. Anyway, we've got a sanity roll to make here. Charlie's sanity is a 50. That's a 33, so we will pass. So now we're back to a decision of, do we cover our ears or scramble for the dial to turn it down? I think we're going to cover our ears. $154. You clamp your hands hard over your ears, but somehow the static still seeps in. Alex, next to you, does the same. Their lips are moving, but you can't tell what they're saying. You yell something about the remote, but even your own voice is lost, hidden beneath the TV's digital wailing. Alex pulls one hand down and fiddles with the remote. The screeching continues. Alex snarls, tosses the remote aside, then staggers over to the TV. You watch them go. The TV looks somehow reflected in the window behind it. The pine trees stand guard in the black hills outside, but they're riddled with static. Riddled with static. Static. Static! You clamp your eyes shut. Alex turns the dial on the TV and kills the noise. The screen goes blank. A blaring ring lingers in your ears. What in the hell was that, you ask? Alex catches her breath for a moment, then shrugs. I have no idea. How the hell was it so damn loud? Those must be really good speakers. You roll your eyes. Great. At least there's a top TV to watch a creepy Peeping Tom video on. Oh, come on. That wasn't a Peeping Tom. Alex gestures to the TV cabinet. Why would Mark and Julie have the tape? If Broken Heart is checked on the log sheet, and it is, we can't stay calm. We have to go to 160. You sigh. Whatever. You always know best, right? Alex frowns. What's all that? What's that supposed to mean? You remember the car ride up. How Alex left you to do all the work while they daydreamed and stared out the window. Never mind, you say, then roll over in bed. Can you get the light? You don't want to watch a movie anymore? No, you say, turning your back to Alex. I just want sleep. Alex sighs. Fine. You feel the beds shift as they stand. I just think that... The TV set blares to life again. It bellows static through the cabin. Thunderous scraping and coughing bounces off the walls. You thrash and cover your ears. Alex swears, but you can hardly hear it. The noise builds to a frenetic peak. It's almost unbearable. Then, just as quick as it began, the noise stops. The TV falls silent. All the lights in the cabin go dead. Check or tick blame game on the log sheet, and then we're going to 193. After, I take a quick drink. Alex, you ask the darkness? Yeah? What was that? I think the power's out. You hear scrambling in the darkness as Alex shuffles along the floor, one hand touching the wall. They flick this light switch several times. I thought this place was on solar power. That's what they said. Maybe something is broken. Do you think there's a backup? No idea. I guess we'll need to go into town tomorrow and call Mark to ask him. Great, you press your fists against your brow. That's just great. Your heart is still racing after the last burst of noise. You take your hands away from your face, but it doesn't get any lighter. It's pitch black in the cabin. You feel anxiety start to build in your chest. If either Broken Heart or Blame Game is checked on the log sheet, we can't lean on Alex for support. We have to go to 207, and both are checked on the log sheet. Yes. Both Broken Heart and Blame Game are checked, so we have to go to 207. You thump your pillow, settle into it, and try to get comfortable so you can sleep. Alex heads back over to the bed, hesitates, then crawls in. Babe, Alex says. What? Are you going to sleep? What else am I supposed to do? The power is out and we're in the middle of the woods. Okay, sorry. The bed frame creaks as Alex rolls over and faces away from you. We should be able to fix the TV tomorrow. I don't care. Let's just get some sleep. Okay, Alex's voice trails off. Neither of you say anything else. Alex doesn't stay awake long. You hear their breathing slow quickly and fade into the gentle rumble of sleep. For you, sleep comes much later. The creaking of pines, the howl of cold wind, and other strange indescribable sounds echo through the black hills around you. The anxiety in your chest burns as you lie silently in the dark. It's a relief when you finally fall asleep. Check or tick nyctophobe on the log sheet. And then we are going to 34. When you wake, you are alone. You stir in the bed and sit up. Babe? There's no answer. The only sound is the wind outside, carrying with it a gentle morning birdsong. You get up and cross to the kitchen. There's a note taped to the chunky refrigerator, which is written in familiar handwriting. Sorry again. Just want this weekend to be special. Gone to town to get help fixing power. Back ASAP. Love you. You set the note down. Looks like you have a few hours to yourself. To eat some breakfast, go to 35. To go for a brisk walk, go to 37. Let's get some breakfast. You scrounge up some bacon and eggs. The spit and splutter of cooking fat fills the kitchen. The leaden quiet out here is unsettling. More than once you make to turn the radio on before remembering that it won't work with the power out. You poke at your eggs idly with a spatula and slowly run your eyes across the room. They land on the dormant television set. Your heart quickens. You frown. It's embarrassing how much that stupid videotape affected you. You roll your eyes and turn off the gas. You eat your hearty breakfast in silence. Once you're done and have washed the dishes, you realize you've got nothing else to do, so you decide to go for a walk. To leave right away, go to 36. To wait a few minutes in case your partner returns, go to 41. Let's leave right away. Outside, the air is fresh, the sun is warm, and the sky is mostly clear. You fill your lungs with a scent of moist soil and pine trees. You take a few steps forward and peer down the driveway. It weaves a way into the woods. The trees are so thick here that you'd probably have a better chance listening out for cars than looking for them. You turn and head down a walking trail just by the cabin. The earth has been worn smooth by the hiking shoes of innumerable visiting families. To slowly get excited about this vacation, go to 39. To grow even more anxious, go to 40. We're going to get more anxious. You feel a gentle flutter in your chest as you go. You wonder about the day before, about the long drive, and your relationship. Then you think of the howling television static. You fold your arms and continue walking. It's hard to keep that image out of your head. You keep your eyes on the trail and force yourself to focus on the now. That's the best advice you've received. Focus on the now. Off to the left, you hear running water. To investigate the sound, go to 44. To stick to the trail, go to 49. Let's go investigate the sound. You step off the trail and stride through the forest towards the sound of running water. The ground is uneven, so you steady yourself on the trunks of nearby pines as you go. You walk for a little while until the sound of the water gets louder. You crest a small ridge and discover a bubbling stream just on the other side. The water is rushing downhill fast, headed south. It's clear and fresh. The trickling sound is melodic. If the flowers on the stream is checked or ticked on the log sheet, this place reminds you of something. You must go to 48. The flowers in the stream is checked, so we have to go to 48. You flinch. The black marker label on the videotape that played just before the TV blew up jumps to your mind. The flowers in the stream. Looking at this stream, the flowers at its bank, and the leaves drifting down on its current, the memory of screeching static rings in your ears. You lift your eyes from the water and look around you. There's nothing unusual here. Just the trail at your back. There's just the trail at your back and lonely pines all along the length of the water. You are alone. Go to 49. It's time to keep walking. You refocus your mind and head determinedly down the trail, farther down the black hills and deeper into the forest. It's a pleasant hike. Sunlight filters through the pine branches and casts up dancing shadows all about you in the cool morning air. After a half hour or so, you feel nature calling and step behind a tree to pee. You are fumbling with your clothes when you spot something. Ahead, off the trail and nestled in a narrow valley, is a dilapidated woodshed. To investigate the shed, go to 56. To ignore it, go to 79. Let's investigate the shed. You step through the small clearing where the shed leans lopsided against a rocky, moss-ridden mountain wall. It's not large, maybe half the size of Mark and Julie's cabin. It's made entirely of wood. A rotting piece of pine serves as a makeshift door that's only just still hanging from the frame. The place looks like nobody has been here in years. You step closer to the shed and put your hand against the door. It swings in slowly and easily. The shed is dark inside. You see the faint shadowy blotches of furniture hidden in the gloom. If nyctophobe is checked or ticked on the log sheet, the darkness makes you nervous. Go to 80. Nyctophobe is checked, so we're going to 80. It's dark in there. Really dark. If your partner was here, you know they'd make fun of you for being a little scared of the dark. What of it, though? What's wrong with that? So, you're sometimes scared of the dark. Well, this little shed is dark, so you don't want to go inside. Is that so bad? Make a sanity roll. Succeed to 82, failed at 81. So Alex's sanity is once again 50. That's a 42, so we do pass. So that will send us to 82. You steel yourself and gaze resolutely at the foreboding shed. So what? It's dark inside, but outside it's bright as hell, and it's so small you'll never be more than 2 steps from the door anyway. To enter the shed, go to 57. Back to your hike to 79. Let's enter the shed. The only light in the shed comes from the open door and a few cracks in the uneven weatherboard walls. There's no windows. It's like this place was designed to be gloomy. You see a small workbench, a wall-mounted cupboard, and a stack of cardboard boxes. The rest of the furniture is mildewy and unremarkable. The floorboards creak beneath you as you walk across the room. Depending on your choices, you may return to this entry several times. Select an option you have not already chosen. To search the cupboard, 58. Over the bench, 62. Rifle through the boxes, 65. To leave, go to 78. Let's start with the cupboard. The cupboard hangs precariously from a dilapidated wall. It has a stressful forward tilt, gripped by gravity. You see a few rusted nails securing it in place. You carefully open the doors. Within are 2 little shelves, both lined with videotapes. They're home tapes like the ones Mark had, with white stickers on the front marked by black Sharpies. The tapes are all caked with moss and spider webs. Make a spot hidden roll to search through the tapes. If you pass to 59, if you fail to 60. So once again, Charlie's spot hidden is a 35. That's a 24, so we pass. Apparently Charlie's good at spot hidden in this adventure. 259. You notice an empty space in the row of tapes where one is missing. You reach out and take the tape next to it. It is a little less damaged than the rest. Maybe it will still work. The black marker title reads, The Quiet in the Evening. You take the tape and tuck it away. All the videos have weird names. You note a few. The sun with the trees, Hoping it erupts, The Way She Moves in the Night, and The Cry of the Children. You narrow your eyes, anxiety rising, and gently close the cupboard door. Check or tick The Quiet in the Evening, then back to 57. So we're back here. Let's go over to the bench next. The bench is laden with a collection of tools. None have been touched in years. They're covered in greasy dust. You see a dull gray hammer. Perhaps it could be useful. There's also what looks like a specialized miniature screwdriver set. To take the hammer, 63. To examine the screwdriver set, 64. Otherwise, back to 57. Let's grab the hammer. The hammer is rusty and the leather grip is crumbling, but it's still heavy. That's all that matters, right? You take the hammer and tuck it away. Check or tick in case of emergency. And back to 57. Let's look at the boxes next. So 65. The boxes are wet and caked with mildew. You open the flaps on the topmost box. The cloying smell of rot hits your nostrils as soon as you touch it. Inside is a pile of black clothing. You pull the first article out. The smell gets worse. The clothing is all long and hooded, and each is about the size of a bedsheet. This is like something somebody would wear in one of Mark's stupid slasher films. To keep searching, go to 66. Otherwise, back to 57. Let's keep searching. You move the topmost box aside and open the next one down. This one has been more successfully protected from the elements. Inside is a collection of dirty glass jars, a long dagger in a leather sheath, and a handheld camcorder. Depending on your choices, you may return to this entry several times. Select an option you've not already chosen. The first time you read this entry, if unsettled is checked or ticked on the log sheet, we have to go to 67. Unsettled is not checked. So now our choices are look at the jars to 68, dagger 69, camcorder 70, to leave them alone back to 57. Let's look at the dagger first. The dagger is bigger than it first looked. The blade is about the length of your forearm. You remove the leather sheath and look at the glistening steel. You see your reflection, shadowed in the gloomy half-light, staring back at you. The weight of the dagger feels good in your hand. You feel an urge to take it along with you. To take the dagger, check or tick razor sharp on the log sheet and make an occult roll. We will be taking that, and then we'll be making an occult roll. Her occult roll is a 5, though. That's a 25. The question is, do we want to spend 20 luck to make that a pass? Good question. Do I want to spend the 20 luck to make that a pass? I think I will not do that. So let's go to 362. You see your distorted reflection in the dagger's blade. It makes you think about funhouse mirrors, like the ones at a tourist beach you visited as a tourist beach town you visited as a kid. You never liked it there. Back to 66. Okay, let's look at the camcorder next. The clunky handheld recording device makes you shiver. Was this what filmed the video you watched last night? The device is maybe 4 or 5 years old, but it's decayed significantly. It must have been left here to rot right while it was brand new. To press the buttons and see if it works, go to 71. To put it away, back to 66. Let's see if it works. You press all the buttons on the camcorder, but nothing happens. The battery is almost certainly dead. You can feel something rattling around inside. Probably another tape. The eject button is jammed, though. Check or tick tech support on the log sheet. If toolkit is checked, and it is not, back to 66. All right, let's leave the boxes alone. So back to 57. And now we're back here. I think it's time to go ta-ta to the shed. So 78. That's enough of that. You step out of the little shed and back into the forest. You wince in the harsh light of the sun and let your eyes adjust. You make your way back to the trail and continue your hike for about half an hour. Then you turn and head back home. Go to 84. You crest the rise that leads back to the cabin. The sun is high in the sky. It's late morning, soon to be afternoon. You sigh. There's no sign of the car, and therefore you're probably still without power or your partner. For now. You head inside. Everything is well lit by the late morning glow. You change out of your walking clothes and leave them out on the bed. Then head into the bathroom to shower. If occupied is checked or ticked on the log sheet, you remember a minor detail. You must go to 86. Occupied is checked, so we've got to go to 86. You close the door behind you and turn on the shower faucet. Water cascades into the waiting tub below, filling the room with a constant loud drizzle that is almost reminiscent of white noise. The pressure is lousy without power to the pump, but gravity does most of the work. Thank God the water heater is gas-powered. You pause, remembering that the bathroom door doesn't keep itself shut. You push it closed harder and put the latch on it to secure it in place. You step into the shower and wash the morning hike away. To stay for a while and enjoy the soak, go to 90. To shower quickly, 92. Let's enjoy the soak. The water The water is warm, cleansing, and healing. You love the feeling of it running over your skin. You swear even the water smells different to the water back in the city. You stay in the shower until you're completely relaxed, ready to face the afternoon with a smile. Heal 1 hit point and restore 1d4 luck points, neither of which we've touched. So let's go to 92. You get out of the shower and dry off. You step back into the cabin and decide to get dressed. To put on jeans and a t-shirt, check or tick practical on the log sheet. Or to put on warm, soft track pants and a sweater, check or tick comfortable on the log sheet. Choose either option, then go to 93. Let's put on jeans and a t-shirt. We're going to go practical here. Right, 93. Freshly dressed, you feel renewed. Now, what to do with the afternoon while you wait for your partner to return? Hopefully they have a solution to the power problem. To make some food, 94. To search for flashlights and batteries so you have light for when it gets dark, 95. To try and restore the power yourself, 368. Let's see if we can find some flashlights and batteries. You know there was a heavy-duty flashlight in the car, but it's gone now. What do you have here in the cabin? Right now, when the sun goes down, you'll be left in the dark. Make a spot hidden roll. If you succeed, 97. If you fail, 98. We've been doing pretty well with spot hidden so far. For the third time, her spot hidden is a 35. That is an 88 though, so we will fail. But there is an option here to push the roll. We can roll a second time at the risk of an unfortunate accident. If we succeed the pushed roll, 97. If we fail, 99. Let's push the roll. Surely we can do better than an 88. A 59, but that's still going to be a fail, and I don't want to spend 24 luck. So 99. In the cupboard beneath the sink, you find a little plastic container with a mini flashlight in it. You switch it on. It works, but the beam is weak. The batteries are probably dead. You look for spares in the pantry, the bathroom, and in the bedside tables to no avail. Still, you refuse to give up. You check the pantry a second time. You look more thoroughly under the sink. You double-check the bedside tables. Still nothing. You curse, frustrated, and lean against the mattress to think for a moment. A brilliant idea hits you. You stoop down and look under the bed. In the half-darkness beneath the bed, you spy a cardboard box covered in dust. You reach for it and slide yourself farther under the bed. You can see the box is pressed right up against the frame. Someone has really jammed it in there. Or jammed it under here. You slide yourself even farther still, squinting in the dark. You grab the box and try to shimmy it free. You realize too late that the bed frame is broken, and that someone had jammed the box under it for support. As you pull the heavy box from its spot, a broken slat comes loose, its jagged wooden edge driving down at you. Check or tick running on empty on the log sheet. And then we are going to make a dodge roll. If we succeed to 109, fail to 100. Her dodge is a 32, half of her dex. That's a 5, so that's actually an extreme success, but I don't... Yeah, that's an extreme success, but I don't think... The Alone Adventurers have never really cared about about hard or extreme successes unless they explicitly state this is a hard whatever test. But in this case, we go to 109. You roll onto your other side. The splintered slat stabs into the cabin floor, jamming into the wood. That could really have hurt if it had hit you. With adrenaline thumping through your veins, you slide out from under the bed, panting hard. Probably best to leave the searching for now. You stand back up and glance around the room. If well-fed is checked or ticked, it is not. So now we're going to go to 94 to make some food. You head to the kitchenette. You're glad the fridge and stove are powered by gas. You cook up a meal, then enjoy it alone at the little dining table. Check or tick well-fed on the log sheet. And then while I'm here, I'm going to check survivalist to see that it is not checked. Alright, so we can either eat and enjoy the food to go to 106, or pick at the plate unenthusiastically and worry about your situation, 107. Let's enjoy the food. So 106. Delicious. Truly. You are a Michelin level chef. Anyway, if fully charged or running on empty are checked or ticked on the log sheet, we're bored, we have to go to 108. Running on empty is what's checked, so 108. You can't think of anything else to do in the cabin, and restlessness is creeping in. For a while, you lie on the sofa and read an old beat-up paperback from a shelf in the corner. You think it's pretty good, but a little flowery and overwritten, not to mention how grating prose in the second person, written in the second person, can be. Make a listen roll. If we succeed to 110, if we fail to 113. Her listen is a 50. Just going to check on email and such real quick. Okay. Our listen roll is a 15, so we succeed on the listen roll. So that means we are going to 110. You hear footsteps outside. They crunch on the gravel driveway. You sit up. You didn't hear a car approach. You stand up nervously and creep across to the window. A balding, middle-aged man is standing just outside the front door. He's dressed in a thick winter coat and has his hands in his pockets. You don't recognize him. He lifts his hand to the cabin door and knocks. To pretend nobody's home and wait for the stranger to leave, go to 140. To answer, go to 121. Let's pretend nobody's home. 140. You wait a few moments, then you hear him step away from the door. You move to the window and look out. You see him leaving. He doesn't head down the driveway. He takes the trail that leads into the forest, the same trail you went walking on earlier. To follow him, go to 138. To close the door and make sure it's locked, go to 120. Let's make sure the door is locked, because part of the aim might be trying to get in. You need to make sure the cabin's safe. You check every door you can find. You pull the door closed and lock it, sliding across the deadbolts to make doubly sure. Then, you walk to the bathroom and check the window. You latch it shut, too. The other windows in the cabin don't open, and there's just the one door in and out. It all seems safe. Check or tick lockdown on the log sheet. So we'll check lockdown. To settle in for the night, 142. And that's our only choice. It's dark. Clouds cover the sky, and the moon is hidden. You lay on top of the bed for a while, listening to the wind shaking the branches of the pines all around. Every few minutes, you think you hear your partner arriving back. Every time, you're wrong. When you walk around the cabin, you use your flashlight to guide your way. After a few hours, you make yourself a sandwich and eat it in the dark. While you chew, there's a knock at the door. It's a single knock. Suffocating silence surrounds it. To ignore it, go to 183. To answer, go to 176. Let's ignore the knock. You finish your sandwich and put the plate in the sink. There is no further knock at the door. You were right. It must just have been something tossed at the cabin, brought on by the wind. As the night goes on, it gets colder. You use the flashlight to go back to the bed and get under the covers. On the cabinet at the foot of the bed, the television turns on. The power's back. To turn on a light, go to 184. To turn off that awful TV, go to 185. Let's turn off that stupid TV. You hurry over to the television, you hit the power button, nothing changes. The screen remains tuned to the VCR, displaying slightly illuminated black, back to 186. It's quiet, the VCR is purring, the TV is dim. Depending on your choices, you may return to this entry several times, yada yada yada. If the quiet in the evening is ticked on the log sheet, and it is, we have to go to 187. You produce the tape you found in the dilapidated shed. The title, written in black marker pen on the label, reads, The Quiet in the Evening. You take the tape to the television set and sit on your knees to reach the VCR. We can either play the tape to 188, or to change your mind and put the tape away, go back to 186. Let's play it. You insert the tape and press play. The screen flutters for a moment, then the sounds of the forest come in. This tape looks to have also been made with a handheld camcorder. The person recording is looking at a campfire. Flames are licking around a wet log. The sizzle and crack of wood merges with the rustle of surrounding trees. After a few moments of this, you hear a voice. It's a man's voice with a strange sing-song tone that reminds you of adult presenters on kids' television. It's so nice and quiet here at night, the voice says. You're pretty sure it belongs to whoever is holding the camera. Alone with my thoughts. Not a care in the world, I must say. The banality of this lonely self-talk creeps you out. The camera jolts to the left. It is now centered on the tree line, right on the edge of the light from the fire, where the forest plunges into darkness. Hello, the man says. There is nothing but the quiet crackling of the fire. Hello? He stands up. He walks closer to the forest. Is someone out there? Faintly, in the voice somewhere in the dark, you hear the muted sound of shouting. What did you say? Again, the muted sounds of yelling. The cameraman stands staring into the dark for a few moments longer. Then, hastily, he turns the camera down to face his boot-clad feet, strides back to his camp, and crawls into his tent. Panting, he quickly zips the entrance flap up. The tape ends. To rewind the tape and raise the volume to try and hear the muted voice, go to 189. To eject, back to 186. Let's see if we can hear the voice. You rewind the tape, watching as the images flash in reverse before you. You stop at the part where the man turns the camera toward the forest. You crank the volume to max. Hello, the man says. You hear a very quiet voice yelling out in the dark. Hello, he stands up. He walks closer to the forest. Is someone out there? Make a listen roll. If we succeed to 190, if we fail to 192. All right, the listen is a 50. That's a 52, so I am going to spend 2 luck to make that a 50. So that'll bring my luck down to 58, and we will pass the roll. So that'll send us to 190. You strain your ears. The reply is faint, made in a haggard voice. It's eating me. What do you say? The cameraman calls back. Again, the haggard, hoarse, screaming voice replies, It's eating me. The cameraman stands staring into the dark for just a few moments longer. Then, hastily, he turns the camera down to face his boot-clad feet and strides back to his camp and crawls into his tent. You hear the distant voice call out one last time. Help me. It's everywhere. I can't The tape ends. Make a sanity roll. If you succeed to 191, if you fail to 194. Our sanity is 50. That's a 99, so we made a mess of that one. We are going to 194. Eating. Something was eating that guy. What the hell was eating him? Is it out there? Is it coming for you? Oh God. Why did you think it was a good idea to take the tape in the first place? What were you thinking? Eating. It's eating. It's going to eat you. It'll start with your feet. It's going to take little bites and make each one count. You don't know what it is, but you know it's going to eat you. Make a note of this entry number. You may need to return to it. lose 1d4 sanity, then go to 86. So we'll grab our d4, and we are going to lose, yikes, 4 sanity. Ouch. So sanity is this dial, so we're down to 46 sanity. And we are going to 186. So we're back here. We don't have the couple who came to the cabin checked, do we? No, we don't. We could play the tape from last night. I don't think we're going to do that, so we're going to leave the TV alone and go to 223. You turn away from the television set and cross over to the bed. You sit down and try to avoid looking at it. You can hear it humming ever so slightly. To head to sleep, 255. To step out onto the porch and look one last time for the return of your partner, 224. Let's look one last time for our partner. You follow your flashlight beam to the cabin door and open it. It's dark and cold outside. The wind drifts past the clearing in front of the cabin, down the driveway to the road hidden by the forest. You shine your flashlight left, then right. There's no sign of your partner. You are obviously being optimistic. If there were any cars out here, you'd hear them a mile out. Make a listen roll. If you succeed, to 225. If you fail, to 228. Her listen again is a 50. That's a 41, so we pass. So 225. You hear rapidly approaching footsteps. They're getting closer fast. You spin about and raise your flashlight. It falls on the shadow of a man running in your direction from the tree line. Your eyes widen as you make him out. Middle-aged, large jacket, face set into a determined snarl. He is sprinting for you with murder in his eyes. To yell at him to stop, go to 233. To dart inside and close the door, go to 226. In we go. Your feet skid on the wooden decking as you dive for the door. The sprinting figure is right behind you. Can you make it in time? Make a dex roll. If you succeed, to 227. If you fail, to 230. Her dex is 65. That's a 91, so we will fail, but there's an option of pushing the roll. We can roll it for a second time at the risk of losing our footing and falling, and we are going to push. Again, certainly we can do better than 91. Wow, that was close, but a 64 will be just enough to pass. So that'll send us to 227. You lunge back into the cabin and slam the door shut, hastily locking it. A half second later, you hear the stranger slam his full weight against the cabin door. The collision is loud. The door shudders beneath him as he begins to beat his fists hard against it. The door begins to shake. He's trying to break in. To try to secure the door, go to 237. To find something to defend yourself with, 241. To try and hide, 239. Let's see if we can find something to defend ourselves. 241. You search around for something, anything you can find. If in case of emergency is checked or ticked, you remember a heavy weapon you found, you may go to 244. If razor sharp is checked or ticked, you remember a sharp weapon you found, you may go to 243. If close to hand is checked, you turn toward the axe you remembered to bring inside, go to 269. Close to hand is not checked, but in case of emergency and razor sharp, both are. Let's go to razor sharp, to 243. You have a weapon. You hurry over to the pile of clothes you wore earlier on your jog, rummage through them, and draw out the long, beautiful dagger you found in the shed this morning. To wield the dagger, go to 253. To change your mind, go to 241. This is what we got the dagger for. We're wielding it. Yep. You grip the hilt of the ornate dagger. It feels powerful. You feel powerful. You make your stand just by the door, brandishing the knife. You're ready. A few seconds later, the door bursts open and the stranger steps through. He charges right at you. Check or tick knife to a gunfight, and then go to 259. So we'll check knife to a gunfight and go to 259. The stranger's bigger than you. He's crazed, wild, and violent. He thrashes with empty hands at the air around him as he crosses the room in large, rapid strides, closing the distance. To try and get out of the way, go to 262. To attack him as he approaches, go to 260. Let's attack. You lash out at the stranger. Make a fighting brawl roll. If red-handed is checked or ticked on the log sheet, your wound adds a penalty die to the roll. If you succeed, to 261. If you fail, to 274. Our fighting brawl is 55, and we've got the dagger. That's a 34, so we will pass. So 261. The stranger is deranged and dangerous, but you're strong, skillful, lucky, or a combination of all three. You land a solid strike. If last resort is checked or ticked, it is not. If blunt force trauma is checked, no. Knife to a gunfight, yes, that is checked, so we have to go to 271. You drive the ornate dagger to its hilt into the center of his chest. The stranger steps back, stumbles, and falls to the floor. He stares down at the dagger still embedded inside him. Hot blood seeps in rivers down his belly onto the cabin floor. Your mouth hangs open in shock. You're still trying to comprehend what just happened. Taken, the stranger mutters, as if in awe of the dagger. Taken, at last. He smiles at you. The child is free. His smile cracks into a demented laugh. You see unbridled joy shine across his face. Then his tongue, thick and cylindrical, extends out unnaturally from his mouth, stretching to a hideous length. It is a whipping, foul tentacle. You cry out in terror. A moment later, a second, then a third tentacle burst forth from the man's rib cage. They're fleshy, warped, and coated with the viscera of their host. They slam into the ground and begin to lift up the still laughing body before you, like some kind of macabre puppet. All the sounds around you start to morph into the steady whine of static. You are overwhelmed. You turn and sprint out of the cabin, away and into the night. Make a note of this entry. You may need to return to it. So 271. Let me see if I can write that a little bit more clearly. There we go. That's better. We also need to check arrival on the log sheet. Then we're making a sanity roll. And if we fail, we lose a d6 sanity. So our sanity is 46. That's a 66, so we are losing d6 sanity. 6 more sanity. Yikes. Down to 40. Then we go to 298. You dash out into the night, running as far and fast as your body can manage. The cold air burns your lungs. The surrounding trees sound alien as they rustle, making you all the more terrified. Every few minutes, you emerge from the trees to a section of dirt road. You keep praying that you will see your partner's car arriving, but deep in your soul, you know it won't come. After almost an hour of mad flight, you come to a crossroads. You recognize it from your journey up to the cabin. You're not sure which direction leads to the highway and which leads deeper into the woods. The forest feels inescapable. Make a navigate roll. If you succeed, to 299. If you fail, to 320. Charlie's navigate is a 40. And we do have plenty of luck we can spend. $71. So we will fail that. We could spend 31 luck to make that a pass, but I don't think we're going to. So 320. You pick one path and follow it. You race along it for almost an hour. Even after all that time, you're not sure if you've gone the right way. The woods around you are endless. The hills are treacherous. Before long, you lose your bearing. It doesn't matter if you took the right way or the wrong way at the crossroads. You get tangled up in your own hurried flight and lose all sense of direction. Everything here is identical. Just great looming black shapes, any of which you feel like could suddenly decide to come to life, loom down, and devour you. This isn't right. It isn't right. Make a sanity roll. Pass if you succeed to 321, fail to 322. Sanity this time is a 40. That's a 71, so we fail, which will send us to 322. You scurry in one direction, then the other, desperately trying to find some kind of landmark you can use to orient yourself. You find none. Panic threatens to overwhelm you. The fear only makes you search faster. Aimless or not, your wandering exhausts you. You're also beginning to get seriously cold. Before long, you need to take a moment. You lean against a tree and catch your breath. Make a note of this entry number. You may need to return to it, so 322. We'll lose a D4 sanity. Another 2 sanity, bringing us down to 38. If well rested is checked, it is not. Go to 301. You try to catch your breath, but it doesn't seem to work. Your hand slides down to the base of the tree, and you collapse down against its roots. You suck air over and over. Your lungs feel icy. Despite the horrible situation you find yourself in, your eyelids feel heavy. You're not sure how long you wait, but it is some time until you feel as though you can get back to your feet. You stand slowly, teeter, but manage to forge on. Right now, you just need to put distance between yourself and the chaos you escaped from. When the sun rises, you'll be able to reassess and begin to find your way back to civilization. Make a note of this entry number. You may need to return to it. Take 1 point of damage and then go to 302. So entry 301. 1 point of damage from the hit points, so down to 12. And 302. Pine needles and dirt crunch under your feet as you walk. You make progress, but with every step you feel yourself growing wearier. You need to find somewhere to rest. Maybe some high ground would be good? Or should you look for a grotto? Anywhere sheltered would be best, right? Just as you spot a cluster of trees where it looks like you'll be able to rest and stay dry, you hear a faint hiss from behind you. What was it? Static? Was the sound static? Adrenaline surges through your system. We can either investigate the sound to 303 or run like hell to 308. We're gonna run. No. No! You don't stop to think. You take off at a sprint and race into the forest. You resist the urge to call out for help because you know that none is coming. Ahead of you, moonlight just barely reveals a jagged pathway littered with sharp rocks and treacherous tree roots. You try your best to avoid them. If running on empty is what's checked, so our flashlight falters, we go to 309. Your flashlight goes dead. You shout in frustration and try to shake the damn thing to wake it up. It doesn't work. You're almost blind when you hit the uneven ground. With every step, you risk falling and breaking your neck. Make a luck roll. If you succeed, to 310. If you fail, to 311. Her luck right now is a 58, so it might be a good thing we haven't spent any of our luck. Wow, that was close. 57. Good thing we haven't spent. Actually, we've only spent 2 luck, but that was just enough to Clear that. Alright, 310. It's only dumb luck that keeps you from tripping and smashing your head open on a rock. You stumble through the trees, hands slapping against their trunks to keep your balance. After a minute or so of mad dash, you stop and strain your ears. You can't hear anything behind you. Good. No sense hanging around, though. You keep jogging forward for as long as you can. Just as you're about to stop to catch your breath, you suddenly break through the trees and emerge, blinking, into a large moonlit clearing. Without the pine trees hiding the light, you can see much more clearly here. The clearing you've wandered into isn't very large, but somebody has still set up inside it. You see a small tent next to a dormant fire pit. Maybe you found help. If familiar face is or wrong turn is checked, it is not. Neither one is. So we go to 275. You made a lot of noise when you pushed through the trees into the clearing. Something rustles inside the tent. You've clearly woken up whoever is inside. Hello? A timid voice calls out. The tent flap unzips and an unfamiliar man steps out into the moonlight. He's fully clothed. He looks toward you, hesitates, then nods. You notice that his eyes show no sign of surprise. To respond politely, go to 335. Aggressively, 286. Let's be polite. Hello, you call out? You struggle to keep terror or anger from creeping into your voice. The man approaches you. He's smiling. Don't worry, the man says, and holds his hands up, empty palms turned toward you. It's okay. I'm your friend. His voice is small and falls eerily. His eyes are wide with excitement. You look around, but there's nothing in the clearing that gives you any new insight into what's going on. What's happening, you ask. You don't expect a real answer, but to your surprise, you get one. I'm someone who can hear it, the man says, then lowers his hands. Here's what? You're what? The child. What? The child. What? The child of the forest. You heard it too. I know you have. When it weeps, it sounds like static, you say. The man smiles. Yes, I knew it. You have heard it. If Alex has checked on the log sheet, Alex has indeed heard the static. Go to 336. If Charlie's checked on the log sheet, Charlie has heard the static. Go to 285. Now, here's the problem that I ran into one of the first times I played this. If we were playing as Alex, Alex was checked or ticked on the log sheet. The problem is, Charlie doesn't get checked the same way, but as we look here, there's actually no option if Charlie is not checked. So the only thing I can assume from that is that we're supposed to check Charlie in entry 2. One of these days I've got to reach out to Chaosium about that, because if we don't have... Because Charlie doesn't get checked there, then this entry gives us no way forward. I think I made a note of that, but I never reached out to Chaosium about that. So we're going to go to 285. Charlie, he says. You freeze. How in the hell do you know my name? The child told me. It just wants a family, Charlie. That's what we can give it. All of us. The voice in the static, you ask? It wants a family? The child, yes. You may return to this entry several times. And when you do, select an option you have not already chosen. To ask what the child is, 337. To ask more about what the child wants, 338. To ask how the stranger knows all this, 339. To ask if he is the man you've seen around, go to 340. When you have finished talking, select one of the following options. To tell him he's talking nonsense, go to 341. To ask how we can leave safely, 350. Let's ask what the child is first. So 337. You keep calling it a child. What actually is it? The man smiles. Something ancient. I know, a strange name for one so old. I believe it was birthed from Mother Earth herself. It exists alone in the wild places of the world. It's lonely and aching. Back to 285. Let's ask more about what the child wants. So 338. The child, you say, it wants a family? The man nods. It spent uncountable years alone. It sees past, present, and future. It has tried so desperately to adapt to the technology of our world, but has failed. It just wants people to be with it. Here, in its home. He gestures around. Back to 285. Let's ask him how he knows all this. Go to 339. It is a burden, this knowledge. The man smiles. I came to this place years ago. I brought my camera. I wanted to document the wild, but I found something far more important to document. Something beyond comprehension. I found that the child could somehow manipulate the magnetic particles in my videotapes to show me visions of the future. He smiles wide. And so far, they have all come to pass. The child exists beneath the earth, in the soil, in the trees, and in the pine needles at our feet. The power of the earth all around it lets it smell and taste and touch anyone who encounters it, whether they have already or not. What do you mean, you ask? It sees the future? For the child, there is only now, and now is everything all at once. It's why it was waiting for you, he says. In my time here, the child has shown me many things, all stored in my tapes. I've kept them and labeled them, and tried to categorize them as best I could. Back to 285. Okay, let's ask if he's the one we've been seeing around. You are the guy I've seen around? He pauses, thinking. It may have been me. Or rather, a version of me. What? I've given myself to the child, he says. I'm in its family now. If it wishes, the child can take my form. Indeed, the child takes many forms, those of its victims, past, and future. Back to 285, and now we need to get out of here. Let's see how we can leave safely. 350. How can I get out of here? The man furrows his brow. You mean leave? Yes, you say. I want to get out of here and go home. I never want to come back here. Ever. The man shakes his head. I am afraid it's too late for any of that. The child has chosen you. It awaited your arrival for so long. You shake your head. I don't care. I'm not staying. You turn and make to run, just as a familiar voice rings out, Wait! If Alex has checked or ticked on the log sheet, you recognize Charlie's voice. If Charlie has checked or ticked on the log sheet, you recognize Alex's voice. Go to 280. You spin around. There, standing on the edge of the clearing, is Alex. Their clothes are flaked with mud and dirt. There are twigs caught in their hair, but they're here. They're alive. They're smiling at you. Honey, they say, it's okay. To run to Alex with open arms, go to 279. To hesitate, go to 10. We are going to... we're going to run to him with open arms. You dash across the clearing and cling to Alex. Oh my God! I've been so worried. You hold them close against you. If Broken Heart is checked or ticked on the log sheet, your words ring hollow. You must go to 281, which we do. Really? Alex asks. You look up, you feel tears forming in your eyes. What? I don't think you were worried. I didn't think you still cared. Alex's voice is flat and dull. Their lip is curled in a slight sneer. It doesn't look natural. Alex, what are you talking about? You never really thought that coming out here would do anything. You'd already given up. That's not true, you cry. But deep down, you know it is. Alex doesn't answer you directly. They just gesture with one hand at the clearing that surrounds you. They just gesture with one hand at the clearing that surrounds you. What do you think is left for us, Charlie? Is it even actually worth it? All this? To hesitate, go to 248. To implore that yes, it is worth it, go to 277. We are going to implore that it is worth it. You can't let Alex throw everything away. You try pleading with them. It is. We have each other. Please, Alex. Tears stream down your face. Make a hard persuade roll. If you succeed, 276. If you fail, 229. So to explain what a hard roll is, on your skill sheet, you've actually got a full value. It would help if I'm showing the skill. You've got a full value here, then a half value, and a fifth value. This is what the regular value is what you test against normally. Actually, let me see if I can hold this up here a little bit better. There we go. Regular, half, fifth. When you're making a regular test, you're testing against this value. If you're making a hard, you test against your half, and an extreme, you test against your fifth. In this case, we're making a hard test, so we need to test against our half. So a hard persuade is going to be a 30. And we do have a lot of luck that we can spend for this. Which a 75 will fail that, so we are going to 229. It has to be worth it, you say. Please. Please, Alex, it has to be. Alex's face remains impassive. Then they shake their head. I don't believe you, Charlie, Alex says. But don't worry. You don't need to trust me yet. You will eventually. Let me show you. They loom closer toward you. If arrival is checked or ticked on the log sheet, a horrible image flashes into your mind. Go to 50. Arrival is checked, so we have to go to 50. You carefully walk down to the river bank. Loose leaves and pine needles wash downstream in a tiny rendition of whitewater rafting. Steadying yourself against a tree, you sit down on the river bank, lean back, and close your eyes. A breeze brushes across on your face and hair. You admire the way the sunlight paints the inside of your eyelids red and yellow. Make a listen roll. If you succeed, to 46. If you fail, to 51. All right, listen is a 50. I get the feeling here, I was going to say here's probably where we're going to start spending luck, but here we don't need to. So 46. Beyond the stream, you hear twigs snapping. You stiffen, then stand up tall. Suddenly, a deer emerges from the tree line. It steps slowly toward the stream, then spots you, freezes, and stares. The water running between you and the deer is the only thing that moves. You are both completely still, watching each other. You notice one of the deer's eyes is swollen with pus and blood. Make a natural world roll. If you succeed, to 47. If you fail, to 53. Our natural world is a 30. A 75 will fail, but we do have an option to push the roll. We can roll a second time at the risk of stepping onto the unstable riverbank. If we succeed the pushed roll, we go to 47. If we fail, we go to 54. So we are going to push the roll. Once again, natural world is a 30. That's a 19, so we pass. That'll send us to 47. You watch enough nature documentaries to know that whatever is infecting the deer's eye isn't common. It doesn't look like any of the frightening diseases, prions, or parasites you've seen on TV. You take a step toward the deer, palms raised, trying to look non-threatening. As soon as you move, the deer turns and bolts. It vanishes into the colors of the forest within seconds. You're left alone by the stream. Creepy. You'd better get back to the trail. Check or tick veterinarian and go to 55. I think this is the longest I've been alive in this adventure. So 55. Wait, what? Hang on. Oh, wait. Hold on. I gotta work backwards here. I'm wondering if I got off track here. Walk down to the riverbank, 44? Wait a minute. I got way off track here. Hang on. Something isn't turning out right. Let's see. 44 is how I got here. Wait a minute. Did I loop on something here? Let's see. This was from a failed test we made earlier. Something... Alright, 281. Implore that yes. We failed 229. Right, if arrival is checked. Okay, that's how I got there. So go to 50. So we're at 50, which is where we're walking down the riverbank. We succeeded at the listen roll, and then we succeeded at the pushed roll. So now we're on 55. Okay. So it looks like we are hitting the trail, heading into... So we hit the trail and push forward, heading down farther down the Black Hills and deeper into the forest. It's a pleasant... What? This still feels really discombobulating. But it looks like we are back to our earlier story. So we're fumbling with our clothes after answering nature's call. We're going to ignore the shed this time. 79. Enough horror movies to steer clear. Cresting the rise. So now we're back into the shower again. That still feels... So we're essentially replaying the story again on... So it feels like we're essentially replaying the story again. Okay. Well. So we're back to the shower that we had earlier. We're going to shower quickly this time. Okay, so it looks like we've looped back again. So it looks like we reset here. We're going to stick with being practical. Then 93. Now we're going to try to restore the power. So here's where we're going to start getting into something new. You slip your shoes on and step out of the cabin. You trudge through the foliage that skirts the cabin walls as you make your way around the building looking for the generator. You find it on the back of the cabin, a big metallic box that was once painted beige, but now faded and chipped, and yes, arrival was checked. Okay. Now faded and chipped, it looks a bit like a cabinet with a pair of doors at knee height. You stoop down and open the doors. Funny, you expected them not to open so easily. Inside are what look like two tall and thin car batteries connected with wires to one of the boxes with a needle that jumps up and down, measuring whatever it was designed to measure. The needle is currently set at 0. Make a hard mechanical roll. Make a hard mechanical repair roll. If you succeed, to 369. If you fail, to 371. Mechanical repair is a 10, so we're testing against a 5. That's a 73, so not shockingly, we fail. You reach in to check the wires running from the big batteries to the little box. One comes loose in your hand. You're unsure if it was already unplugged or if you somehow unplugged it when you checked to see if it was secure. You grab the box and try to turn it around to see if there are buttons or anything on the back. There aren't, Just wires and spider webs. You push the box back in place and brush your hands on your shirt. You check a different wire on the battery. You feel a tingle and jerk your hand away. Was that a shock? No, the wire's wrapped in rubber. You're just jittery. Ugh, forget it. You groan and slap the doors shut. Go to 370. With a sigh, you head back inside and slip off your shoes. You close the door behind you. It's nice in a way to feel so removed from the world, but still safe and secure in this little room, like a pocket of the modern day planted in the wilderness. You wish you could just watch TV. To make some food, go to 94. To search for flashlights and batteries so you have light for when it gets dark, go to 95. Let's look for lights. So 95. So we're kind of retelling the story again. So we're going to make another spot hidden roll in the cabin. Spot hidden roll is a 35. That's a 9, so this time we pass. In the cupboard beneath the sink, you find a little plastic container with a mini flashlight in it. You switch it on. It works, but the beam is weak. The batteries are probably dying. You look for spares in the pantry, the bathroom, and in the bedside tables. Eventually, your gaze settles on the TV cabinet. You cross the cabin to the television and perch on your knees in front of it. You open the cabinet and scan over the videotapes. You move some of them aside to look deeper into the cabinet. In the dark, right at the back, you find a blister pack of batteries. They must be kept here for the remote control, but they fit the flashlight. Jackpot. You swap the batteries out. The beam becomes much stronger. Fully charged. We'll check fully charged on the log sheet. Let's see. Well fed is checked, so we're bored and we have to go to 108. So this is back to reading again. We're going to make our listen roll. So essentially it looks like we're retelling everything that we dealt with earlier. Listen is a 50, which we will pass that with an extreme success. So 110, that's footsteps outside. This time we're going to answer the door. You cross to the door, unlatch it, and pull it open. Hello? The stranger looks you up and down, his face devoid of expression. Hello, he says. He isn't smiling. He looks past your shoulder into the cabin. Is Julie home? Julie, that's Mark's wife. To ask who the strange man is, go to 114. To tell him Julie isn't here, 122. Sorry, who are you, you ask? He ignores your question. Julie, is she home? To make a spot hidden roll, if you succeed, 115. If you fail, 118. Spot hidden, once again, is a 35. Wow, that's a 1, so that is an extreme success. So, go to 115. You glance past the stranger to see the clearing behind him where your car was parked. The clearing that leads to the main road. It's empty. This guy must have walked to the cabin. 118. You don't know what to say next. Are you lost? You ask. Just looking for Julie, he replies. Can you tell me your name? He stares at you. Sir, you ask. Is Julie home, he asks again. To keep talking, go to 116. To ask him to leave, go to 117. To close the door on the stranger, 128. Let's close the door on him. I'm losing my patience with this guy. Okay, you say and slowly narrow your eyes. Thanks. He stares unfaltering as you shut the door in his face. You worry he might try to stick a foot in the way, but he doesn't. You lock the door. To go back to reading, 139. To loiter by the door and see if he leaves, go to 140. Let's stay by the door and see if he leaves. Go to 140. Alright, so we wait. This was waiting earlier. Let's go to 120 again. So we're starting, so this is again, moving back to the door to make sure we see him leave. He goes down the trail, so we're going to make sure the door is locked. We lock the door, check lockdown, settle in for the night to 142. It's dark. We are going to answer the door to 176. You set the sandwich aside and swallow. You walk toward the door, the flashlight guiding your way. Hello, you ask? You open the door. Darkness. The flashlight spreads a cone of dim light out into the night. The wind and the cold wash over you. Make a note of this entry number. You may need to return to it. I've done that. Make a sanity roll. If you fail, lose a sanity. Her sanity right now is 38. That's a 23, so we passed that just fine. If Lumberjack is checked, which it is not, to dismiss the noise as an accident of the wind, 181. To wait a moment longer, 178. Let's wait a moment longer. It's cold and the wind is picking up and it's louder out here than you realized. You can't make out any individual sounds. It's just one long howl. It sounds like solid white noise, like howling, screeching static. Make a sanity roll. Fail to 179, succeed to 180. Sanity is a 38, that's a 42, so we fail. Static, static, howling static. In the trees and on the ground, in your face and down your throat, in your gut and in your eyes, howling, howling, howling. Meshy, white, howling static. You hurry back inside. Make a note of this entry number. You may need to return to it. Lose a sanity. So that's entry 179. And I'll be down to 37 sanity. And we are going to 181. You close the door, didn't realize how cold it was until the slight warmth of the cabin returns. You go back to the kitchen and sit dejectedly before what is left of your sandwich. Later, you follow the flashlight back to the bed and get under the covers, rubbing your arms and legs to stay warm. Upon the cabinet at the foot of the bed, the television turns on, the power's back. We will inspect the television, going to 185. We hurry over to the television, hit the power button, but nothing changes. The screen remains tuned to the VCR, displaying slightly illuminated black. We're going to play the tape from last night here, go to 208. The tape from last night is still sitting in the little cabinet. Call it morbid curiosity, or just a desire to understand what is going on, but you take up the tape and slide it into the VCR. You turn the volume all the way down. You don't want a repeat of the speaker blasting static from last night. You press play. The tape begins from where it left off the night before, static. Thunderous white noise, muted by your fingers on the volume dial. Then, the tracking on the tape flickers, jagged white and silver lines horizontal across the tape. It looks like the tape had more footage to show when you turned it off last night. Check or tick familiar face on the log sheet. To adjust the tracking on the tape using the VCR controls, go to 222. To let it play on, go to 209. Let's let it play on. You ignore the tracking, assuming it'll fix itself. The white noise vanishes from the screen. It's replaced by the image of a clearing in the forest. Someone is adjusting the camera, presumably setting it on a tripod. The figure finally steps into view. It's just some guy. He's wearing a fluorescent hunting jacket and beanie. He stands back and looks at the camera, then smiles and turns to the clearing. He has set up a little campfire and a tiny two-man tent. After nodding contentedly, the figure squats by the fire, snapping sticks in half and tossing them into the flames while looking at the camera. His lips are moving. To adjust the volume so you can hear what the figure is saying, go to 210. To continue to watch the tape muted, 217. Let's adjust the volume to see what he can hear. You turn the volume dial and his words become clear. Out 5 days now, I think? He looks up and around to the pines on the edge of the clearing. It's beautiful. I'm expecting my friends any day now. The man stands up, looking down at the fire. Flames are keeping me warm, keeping me prepared. He turns to the camera again, and he gestures to his tent. It gets cold at night. I think soon, though, that won't matter. He moves to the tent and unzips it. He sticks his head and arms in and forges around for a few moments. He comes out of the tent holding a manila folder, the kind you see people store documents in at offices. He walks back to the camera and takes a seat in front of it. The frame is tight around his face. The figure looks directly down the lens, right at you. He says something, but it's too soft to hear. To rewind the tape and turn the volume up, go to 213. To leave the tape running, go to 211. Let's turn the volume up. You rewind the tape, you turn the volume up, it's uncomfortably loud, and you press play. You see the man walk back toward the camera and take a seat in front of it. He's so close you can hear his breathing. He looks directly down the lens, right at you. This is the blessing of the child, he whispers. Now that he is up close, you notice something weird about his eyes. He has a little set of pustules sprouting around the rim of his eyelid, almost directly along the same spot where his eyelashes grow. They vary in size, but look sore, yellow, and wet. If veterinarian is checked or ticked on the log sheet, you remember a similar ailment, you must go to 212, and we do. It looks remarkably like the deer you saw in the forest earlier that day. The same kind of sore, same kind of strange, sickening disease, but you'd assumed it was some sort of sickness contracted by animals, not people. Your stomach churns as the man twists and reveals the pustules in all their glory. 215. The man holds up the folder and smiles. Everything here, just as yesterday. Everything I wrote down after that first dream. He puts the folder in his lap, out of sight, and looks down. You hear the folder open and papers rustle. I'll read it again, he says, words that came to me in my sleep. He smiles at the camera, proud, and gestures to the clearing behind him. This exact spot. I saw it every night. Every single night. He's giddy now. He looks down at his papers and begins to read. It comes in the face of those it has taken, those it has brought into the fold. By the light of the sun it is hidden, clad in the skin of the familiar. He clears his throat, then continues. By night it walks free, a student of the earth, a venom and cure of the forest. Drawing from deep in the soil, these black hills are its flesh today. Every tree is a hair. Its followers are those dictated by the rule of time. Mikhail, Homer, Olivia, Darcy. He pauses here and points excitedly to the paper. That's me, he adds, and then goes on reading. Marcus, Charlie, Alex, Rachel, Isaac. Darcy pauses. He looks directly at the camera. Charlie, he asks. Alex? He leans in close to the camera. The entire screen now is just his eye, ridden with pustules. Are you coming home? The screen smashes to white noise and the room fills with crackling static. Make a sanity roll. If you succeed, 214. If you fail, 216. So our sanity now is 37. That's a 49, so we fail. That will send us to 216. The static, the horrid static. You can't escape it. You can feel it, like icy tendrils in your gut, around your throat, burrowing into your brain and stirring around all your thoughts, twisting your feelings and eating your memories. You reach out and slap at the VCR once, then twice. On the third time, you finally hit the eject button and the machine spits out the tape. The cabin falls silent. The television set is there, glowing quietly. That man on the tape, how did he know those names? How did he know you? Make a note of this entry number. You may need to return to it. Lose 1d4 sanity. So 216. Losing a d4 sanity. That is another 1 sanity, so we're down to 36. Wait a second. If we ever lose more than 1/5 of our total sanity... Actually, I think we have lost 5 sanity points in a single instance. So I'm going to back up to that. So we're going to go to 186 next, but we are going to also go to 329. You've seen too much. Your brain short circuits. You blink and try to comprehend what you've just seen. You desperately hope that you will be unable to. You have triggered a bout of madness. Make an int roll. So her intelligence is 55. That's a 61. So we fail, which means we return to our previous entry, so we're actually going to 186. That's enough of the VCR, so 223. Turning away from the TV, we're going to head to bed, so 255. You crawl under the covers without bothering to get changed. At least here it's warm. You set the flashlight by the side of the bed and switch it off. Then, you curl up around your pillow, listening to the sound of the wind outside, and wait to fall asleep. If lockdown is checked or ticked on the log sheet, we have to go to 256, and it is. 256. A thump at the cabin door startles you awake. You hadn't been asleep long. You fumble for the flashlight and switch it on. You draw the light to the cabin door. It sits there, still locked, just as you left it. The door suddenly shudders with another violent bang. You hear a hoarse grunt just before the impact. Someone on the other side, a man by the sounds of it, is yelling incomprehensibly. He's pounding against the door again and again. It shudders under his weight. The door frame is slowly beginning to split. We can either call out to him to 257, hide to 239, find something to defend ourselves with, 241, brace the door so it stays shut, 237. We're going to find something to defend ourselves with. Alright, so we're searching around for something again. We'll go with razor sharp, and we will wield the dagger. So we've checked knife to a gunfight. That'll bring us to 259. We're going to attack him as he approaches. So we're going to make a fighting roll. Red-handed is not checked, so we get to make this at a 55. That's a 71, so we will fail. We'll go to 274. Even in an inferior position, the stranger is too fast for you. He whirls about and your attack swings wide. While you're recovering, he snarls, lunges, and drives his fist into your gut. You crumple up and stagger back. All the wind has been immediately knocked out of you. The stranger bellows in celebration. You steady yourself, then look up to see him approaching you again, fists flailing. You realize with a start that during the scuffle, the two of you swapped positions. You are now between him and the door. There's no way you're staying. You spin around and sprint away from the cabin out into the woods. The stranger's howls of fury grow fainter as you vanish into the night. Make a note of the entry number. We'll take D4 damage and go to 298. Three damage, which our health was this dial, so we're down to 9. Let's see, that triggers if we ever lose half or more of our health in a single instance of damage, okay? So 298. Now we're back into the forest. We're making a navigate roll again. Her navigate is a 40. That's a 5, so we will succeed this time. Go to 299. You pick a pathway. Actually, I think this was the success. So we have to go to 301 because we weren't well rested. Alright, we try to catch our breath, but it doesn't work, so we're taking another point of damage. That's bringing us down to 8. Okay, 302 is investigating this. Is the sound that we hear. We are going to... We're going to run. Fully charged this time is checked. Actually, I think both are checked, but we're going to go with fully charged being checked this time. So 323. Without light to guide your path, you'd almost certainly break your neck running over the uneven ground ahead. You silently thank your lucky stars that you stopped to add extra batteries to your flashlight. You dodge between the hazards and leave the sound of static behind you. After a minute or so of mad dashing, you can hear nothing but the rustling of forest pines. Just as you're about to stop and catch your breath, you suddenly break through the trees and emerge, blinking, into a large moonlit clearing. Without the pine trees hiding the light, you can see much more clearly here. The clearing you've wandered into isn't very large, but someone is still set up inside it. You see a small tent next to a dormant fire pit. Maybe you've found help. If familiar face is checked, and it is, so we recognize this campsite, we go to 266. A sense of deja vu washes over you. This campsite, it's the same one. You hear a rustling from inside the tent. Your noisy arrival clearly woke up whoever's inside. A sing-song voice calls out, "Hello?" Your stomach sinks. You recognize that voice. The tent flap unzips, and the same man steps out. He's even wearing the same clothes. He looks toward you, hesitates, then nods. You notice that his eyes show no sign of surprise. This time we're going to be aggressive. 286. What the hell is going on? Please calm down, the man says, holding his hands up defensive. Please. Calm? Screw you. Tell me who the hell you are. He pauses and licks his lips. I'm the one who can hear it. What the hell does that mean? The child, he says. It speaks to me. You better start talking some goddamn sense. The child of the forest, he says. When it weeps, it sounds like static. You fall silent. The man smiles, nodding. You've heard it too, haven't you? You hesitate. Back to 285. And we're going to ask about leaving safely again. So 350. This is where we have the encounter with, this is where we reunite with Alex. So 280. And this time we're going to hesitate because this is the second time we've had it happen. So we're going to entry 10 this time. No, no! You race for the edge of the clearing. You can make it out if you're fast enough. You hear the warped sound of your partner's voice calling after you, but don't turn to look back. Then, you hear heavy slamming footsteps approaching fast. You can't help but look back for a moment. You see that your partner's body has warped and deformed. Their skin is split, and horrid dark branches burst from their flesh. Propelled by those disgusting long tendrils, they surge forward toward you. You turn back and race for the tree line. If you can just get there and break free, you can leave all this behind you. Make a dex roll. If you succeed, to 360, ow. If you fail, to 359. Dex here is a 65. That's a 10, so that will actually be an extreme success. So 360. You run through the forest. You jump logs, duck under low-hanging branches, deftly avoid the moss-ridden stones. For a while, you hear the sounds of pursuit, but terror, rage, and anguish pushes you to run for far longer than you ever have before. Eventually, the sounds of pursuit fade. You keep running, tears streaming down your face. You run for hours. You only stop when the sun rises. By the light of the new day, you find your way through the trees back to a main road. You walk, haggard, for hours. Sometime in the mid-afternoon, when the autumn sun is beginning to dip, you are picked up by a passing trucker. He stares at you curiously and asks repeatedly if you are all right. You never answer him. You ask to be dropped in the center of town, but he drops you at the police station. Doesn't matter. It'll do. You head inside. Days pass in a blur of hospital visits, police reports, and soul-sucking interviews with smiling psychologists who assure you they're only there to help. Search teams go into the Black Hills to try and find your partner. They don't find anyone, but you never really thought they would. They do eventually search your car. Even though it has your license plate, the searchers say it can't have been the same vehicle. It was rusted, covered in moss, and looked as though it had been abandoned in the forest for years. You find no reprieve, even in rest. When you sleep, you dream only of the forest, the lonely trees, the wet soil, and the endless night sky. But there's a strange budding warmth in your belly that makes everything seem fine. Somewhere out there is screaming, a chanting, the wind that unsettles the trees. The breeze makes the pine needles dance across the forest floor. Then there's the static, a cacophony of sound running together, blending to create a long, all-encompassing drone. It fills your head, your very being. The static is all. Then suddenly, the warmth within your stomach explodes. Your flesh tears, yet there's no pain nor blood. You watch in horror as the gnarled branches of some ancient tree emerge from your stomach, all while twisted roots encircle your bones, crushing and cracking them. You try to scream, but only static emerges. As the static fills you and everything around you, the last thing you are aware of is the endless sea of stars above you. The cold stars. Then, darkness. Go to 354. The darkness lifts. The light of dawn brings you to wake. You don't recall how much time has passed. It might be years later, or could it be years earlier? Somewhere in the forgotten wild, you stir. You see the ancient forest around you. The pine needles feel like carpet on the ground. It's all warm and familiar. The wind flutters through the Black Hills to a place where no bears, rabbits, or birds ever tread. Trees shiver in the final moments of summer, and beneath the moist earth, you shift. Dead branches and fresh soil fall away from you as you emerge. Human again, you rise from the damp earth and breathe. You blink and hear the call of your master. The child awaits you. You have successfully completed the story and have been reborn to serve the child, as you will be again and again for all eternity. The end. And that will do it for this playthrough of Questlog featuring Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Static. That was actually quite the adventure. And I kind of panicked a little bit at that loop initially, but I think that loop was behavior as intended. I'm still bothered, though, that entry didn't give us a way forward with Charlie. I had to do a little bit of house ruling there. Still, that was a phenomenal adventure, even if, well, I was going to say, I usually like using the alone adventures when I need to roll up a new character. But Tide and Flames will do that for you if you want to roll something for a Call of Cthulhu adventure, for a future one. Anyway, wow, I'm going to set up for tomorrow's baseball stream, but we are going to wrap up here. Before we get to baseball tomorrow, though, tomorrow morning, we will be starting the 2026 Summer of Lovecraft as we play Eldritch Horror by Fantasy Flight. Tomorrow afternoon, we will be back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the St. Louis Cardinals will be playing the Philadelphia Phillies in my 1981 season replay in season ticket baseball. John Martin will be on the mound for the Cardinals, and Steve Carlton will be on the mound for the Phillies. Wednesday, we are playing... what are we playing on Wednesday? We're playing Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu by Z-Man. Next week, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the Adventure Time official cookbook as we're making the side, Banana Guard Banana Bread. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.